At this point, you likely have encountered considerable information about burnout. It refers to the sensations of stress, fatigue, and diminished motivation resulting from an overwhelming workload and responsibilities at the workplace, to the extent that it can impact your personal life. Although burnout is not a novel idea, it remains a persistent challenge for workers, according to Candy Vanes, Ed.D., who is the CEO Director of the University of Pennsylvania's Masters in Medical Education program and the author of the upcoming book Burnout Immunity. These sentiments have been intensified by the uncertainty and stress brought about by the pandemic. Individuals were grappling with heightened personal stress, diminishing their ability to cope with work-related stress, which was concurrently on the rise, according to Vanes. As a researcher focused on the connection between emotional intelligence and burnout, she asserts that the escalation of burnout rates was unavoidable under these circumstances. Many individuals are still contending with these emotions. The 2023 Work in America survey by the American Psychological Association disclosed that 77% of workers experience stress directly related to their work. The accumulating stress is giving rise to adverse workplace experiences, including emotional fatigue, diminished motivation, reduced productivity, an inclination to quit jobs, and heightened irritability and anger, all indicative of burnout, as outlined by the American Psychological Association. Only 29% of respondents reported that their employers actively promoted the well-being of employees' mental health. The manifestation of burnout varies from person to person. According to Vanes, the first step towards recovery is acknowledging that you are experiencing burnout. Additionally, certain signs may be subtle and develop gradually. This underscores the importance of being aware of the symptoms and stages of burnout and understanding how to address it if you find yourself grappling with it. Are you genuinely experiencing burnout? While everyone encounters stress occasionally, it's essential to distinguish between regular stress and burnout. Studies indicate that burnout is characterized by emotional exhaustion, a sense of cynicism, and a diminished feeling of personal accomplishments. According to Vanes, many individuals who claim to be burned out are often overextended, but they may not necessarily perceive a decline in their job effectiveness or feel cynical. Put differently, individuals in this situation might be facing excessive workloads, feeling overwhelmed, or experiencing fatigue, yet they maintain a positive outlook about their work, as explained by Vanes. To assess whether what you're experiencing aligns with burnout, consider the following questions. Am I currently experiencing a higher level of emotional exhaustion compared to the past 6 months? Have I noticed an increased sense of cynicism in the last 6 months compared to my usual state? Do I sense a complete loss of effectiveness in my job, where my efforts and actions no longer seem to have any meaningful impact, regardless of how hard I work? If you find yourself responding affirmatively to these questions, it is likely an indication that you are experiencing burnout, according to Vanes. Who is prone to experiencing burnout? While burnout can impact anyone, individuals with specific personality traits may be more vulnerable to it. A literature review published in 2023 in the journal BMC Psychology investigated the association between burnout and personality traits based on the 5-factor model commonly used in psychology. The findings indicated that higher levels of neuroticism and lower levels of agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, and openness were associated with increased susceptibility to burnout. Neuroticism is essentially a measure of how well we can maintain emotional stability, particularly when faced with stress, explains Greg Lozano, LPPC, a licensed professional counselor at Growth Therapy. He suggests that it is reasonable to expect that individuals scoring high in neuroticism would be more susceptible to burnout due to heightened emotional exhaustion. Individuals who are prone to people-pleasing, perfectionism, and those with a strong desire for control are identified as more susceptible to burnout, according to Vanes. On the other hand, individuals possessing a significant amount of grit, characterized by high ambition, engagement, and perseverance toward goals, may have some protection against burnout. However, Vanes notes that even individuals with high levels of grit can experience burnout, although it may occur at a slower pace, reaching a breaking point over time. There are no officially designated stages of burnout, according to Lozano. Vanes mentions that burnout typically unfolds gradually, with most individuals she has interviewed for her research being in either the active phase of burnout or in the process of recovering from it. Many individuals characterize burnout as a subtle and creeping phenomenon, she notes. Here are some signs of burnout that warrant attention. Experiencing fatigue and cynicism. Initial indications of burnout could manifest as a heightened sense of exhaustion mentally, physically, and emotionally, particularly when compared to one's usual state over the past few months, according to Veens. You might also observe an increase in cynicism, she points out. This could manifest as a negative outlook towards your work, duties, and the colleagues you interact with, such as harboring a pessimistic attitude. Even individuals who generally maintain an optimistic or positive perspective on life may observe the onset of cynicism, and sometimes this happens before the onset of exhaustion, notes Veens. In the course of her research, Veens spoke with a police officer who likened their stress to a regular headache, while describing burnout as akin to a persistent migraine that proved difficult to alleviate. The officer also shared sentiments of complete exhaustion, with no energy left to invest in their work. Experiencing a sense of hopelessness. Individuals undergoing burnout often perceive a diminished effectiveness at work or a decline in their ability to perform routine tasks as proficiently as they once did, according to Veens. You might notice a decline in your performance or a sense that you're not as effective as you once were. Such feelings can give rise to a sense of despair, discouragement, or helplessness, as she clarifies. Burnout is associated with decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, a lack of motivation, and reduced job satisfaction. Being consistently tired and drained is likely to impact our work performance, notes Lozano. Disregarding self-care. Experiencing burnout could lead to neglecting your own needs, as highlighted by Lozano. This might manifest in difficulties with falling or staying asleep, skipping meals, or withdrawing from friends and activities you typically enjoy. Neglecting self-care can amplify stress, further exacerbating the effects of burnout, he explains. If managing everyday tasks is becoming challenging, it's crucial to make adjustments, such as distancing yourself from the stressor and contemplate seeking therapy, suggests Lozano. Impact on relationships and mental well-being. Because burnout depletes your energy and leads to emotional detachment, it can have repercussions on your relationships with family, friends, and colleagues, notes Lozano. This could result in heightened conflicts or challenges in maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Burnout may give rise to conditions such as depression and anxiety, as outlined by the Mayo Clinic. However, it's important to note that not everyone experiencing burnout necessarily develops depression or anxiety. While the symptoms may overlap, research indicates that they represent distinct concepts or conditions. Seeking assistance. Acknowledging that what you are experiencing is indeed burnout is essential for initiating positive changes and reclaiming control over your life. Following this recognition, reaching out for support becomes imperative, according to Veens. Discuss your feelings with a friend, mentor, or therapist, she suggests. Reflect on the modifications you can introduce to enhance your situation, whether it involves exploring new job opportunities, addressing work-related issues with your supervisor, taking a break, asserting your right to decline additional tasks, establishing boundaries, or implementing other adjustments. If you find yourself uneasy about your circumstances, sensing that your challenges are impacting your daily life, or noticing persistent symptoms despite making positive adjustments, it's important to reach out to a mental health professional, emphasizes Lozano. Today's reading tip is about the book The Anxiety Formula. This book is not just a read, it's a transformative journey. Discover that, although unpleasant feelings are intrinsic to life, learning from them is the key to personal growth. The Anti-Anxiety Formula is a compassionate guide filled with tools and skills designed not only to manage but to overcome anxiety.